Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome back to the CEO Lounge. Y'all know we're going to give people some time to get in here. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Happy Juneteenth. Definitely got to make sure we got a good one today for Juneteenth. We're going to give people some time. Let me pull the chat up. I got the chat pulled up now. Give everybody some time to start strolling on in here.
Hey, Jordan Bree.
Hey,
thanks
Jordan.
for being here.
Jordan be on it and ready. Jordan be ready. What's up,
family
Jordan?
Support. We need the family support in the chat. Thank you, Jordan.
What you been up to today, Jordan Pretty? What you been doing?
Yes. Thank you guys for tuning in. We do really have a good one today. And we were not going to have an episode technically. We had one or two different things going on, and I've been under the weather for multiple days straight. But that's the thing about Jordan said she's been cooking. Yeah, Jordan up there like chefing, seriously. Like I done passed everything down to Jordan. Jordan can cook. She's still a mini. But she can definitely throw down in the kitchen. But
I need some good food for the party, Jordan Bree. And I need some shea butter. 50 tubs of it.
Yeah, only thing you probably can't travel with it. That's why I'll make it before you leave. I don't know.
I think they usually do let me bring it, but I don't usually bring multiple ones. Like they let me travel with like one or something. But I'll be planning, like if they were to stop me, like I'll eat it. Like hey, it's just some edible shea butter. Like I'm not throwing that out. I already played that in back in my head a few times. I can't throw away.
I mean, it's all natural stuff, so you can't. Ain't nothing in there.
Yeah, I can't throw away a fresh tub of that. I've been told them at the airport, at TSA, like, look, put some on your skin. Like, this good for you. Use this. I ain't throwing that out.
Yeah, worst case scenario, they make you check it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to an airport before where they can put the substance in this little machine and it'll scan it and see what's in there.
Yeah.
They be having that too.
Yeah, worst case scenario, they just won't let you carry it on the plane and you just got to check it.
Yeah.
Hey, Rome. Rome is with us. Greetings from Jerome in the house. Watch your mouth. Thank you.
Jerome in the house. This man, he need his own podcast.
No, please don't put him on his own podcast. The audience has no clue. Please.
You have me tripping.
Please.
Yeah, we got a good one for y'all today. I'm trying to find my last chat to send it.
The audience has no clue. Some of our audience, so some of my family members are media trained and some of my family members are not. So if they're in the chat all the time, they may or may not be fully media trained. I always say that. Somebody even reached out to me earlier. People always want to interview me and they're always saying, you can share whatever you want. Like I am so at this stage of my career, I'm so media trained. I'm so like PC trained. I'm politically correct, whether people like it or not on everything. I'm never going to share something that I don't want to share. I've written so many books and people will even assume everything I share. I'll be like, that's literally like 1% of my life. I really didn't share anything. So, I am trained on what I want to say and what I do not want to say. So it's really hard to catch me slipping. But some of our family members, we're going to do a family show though. We are. So when I say not media trained, they talking, they can be, everybody's professional. Everybody knows how to do, episodes. So we're going to do a family episode soon. We're going to get everybody on and see how we can maneuver the entire family in a great conversation about finance. And then people like to just see all of our dynamics and things, especially on the eve of, not to compare, but on the eve of the Obama Presidential Center. I've been seeing a lot of people talk about like their children, like not necessarily them, but it's just something that people have a fascination when, you are perceived even to have a certain level of success, then, that's one thing. But people always want to know, like, did you mess your children up in the process? Are your children all messed up? Like, what's the record with them? So people always like to talk to my kids. They come out to the office and they are always over there chatting. Actually, Jules told me at our recent seminar, she said that someone was like, so how is it living under the shadow of your mom? Like, she's so successful. She's so educated. Like, what are you going to do about living under her shadow? And Jules said she was just kind of looking like, I don't live under her shadow. Like, I feel perfectly fine. Like, she's just my mom. Hey,
Katrina.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in today.
We're just chatting to give people like 1 or 2 more minutes to come in because we do want some engagement for this show. I have some polls, so we're gonna do it a little different. We didn't upgrade it a little bit. I have a
Yeah, if
poll.
you in the chat, speak, say how y'all feeling,
Say
say
hi
hello
to
or something.
us so we know that you're here because
No ghost watchers. We want to engage with everyone.
yes. This is
I see some more people getting on here too, so that's what I'm saying.
okay. Yeah, this is a
Say hello
super
or something if you in the
informal
chat.
show. So join in. Oh, Jordan said she's excited for the polls. Yeah.
We should have gave the people like a Runs house or something, like how they got all different Diggy Simmons and Angela, all different kids on different stuff, but we would have had double P edition. They don't know about that. That's if you know, you know. If you know. Like a Runs house.
If you know, you know. But yes, everybody always wants to talk to my children, which is fine. I'll be like, I always say my children are here. Because they will get over there quickly and start questioning them. You know, is your mom making you do this? Are you being forced to be a real estate agent? Do you like the industry? You know, they always want to have all of these questions. Marty's been out all day working in real estate. Like, I didn't even know he had appointment. He been working, where it's just like, I'm not forcing them. They wake up and they have their own appointments. They have their own stuff. Like, they want to be successful.
Definitely.
Yeah, but Jules was like, yeah, she was like, how is it living in the shadows of your mom? And Jules was like, I don't live in the shadows of my mom. But
anything.
We'll be just asking any daggone thing. Yes. So I'm going to get started. We have some people here. I'm going to just jump right in. And again, welcome to Finance Friday, the CEO Lounge. We are so thankful that you took time out on a federal holiday to join us because we have a very special episode for you guys today. We kind of put a pause to our typical Finance Friday letters, and we really wanted to deep dive into Juneteenth, the economic reality, and just kind of focus on our people. Like, let's have a conversation about our people. And I recently did my first course that I taught at Dr. Boyce Watkins Black Business School. Shout out to Dr. Boyce. And one of the questions that he asked me when I was on his Money in the Morning show is, you know, why do you want to help out Black people? Like, what's your thing? Like, tell me why you want to educate Black people? Like, what's your thing with our people? And that was so easy for me. I'm like, listen, I only know how to be Black. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to help out the other people. I don't know what's going on. I understand culture as well as color when it comes to us. I understand how we move. I understand, you know, what we say, our lingo, you know, all the things that make us who we are, and make us why we love us so much, because, you know, that's the only thing I know. I'm from Baltimore City, born and raised, you know, you know, I feel like sometimes I didn't even really know someone that wasn't a Black person until like way later on in life. Like, I went to an all Black school. I may have had one person that wasn't Black at my high school even. So it's just what I know. So we're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk about everything blackity black, the history of our people. We're going to go over the finances. We're going to do a bunch of things. So I am your host, Dr. Ebony MacArthur, and I'm here with my son.
I'm Monte, everybody. I am brand CEO.
Yes, and we want you to interact with us. We're going to be throwing out some statistical data that's out there. You know, you can always Google, you can fact check, but I want to throw out some of these you know, facts, and I want to have a conversation about it. So let's start with the first one, Monte. So number one is the homeownership gap has widened, not shrunk. So the reason why I wanted to add this one to the conversation is, have you ever heard people say, you know, our people have come so far, don't take us back. You know, our people, you know, we've come so far from where we used to be. And have you ever thought about it? Like, have we come so far? Have we looked at the data to see to attach like a numeric factor to have we come so far? Like, can that be proven? So I pulled up some homeownership facts about the wealth gap. So the data says in 1968, when the Fair Housing Act was passed to end systematic discrimination, Black homeownership was at 41.1%. Fast forward today, the Black homeownership rate sits at roughly 44%, meaning the homeownership gap between Black and white Americans is actually wider today than it was over 50 years ago when segregation was legal. So we technically are right around where we were during the civil rights movement.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy.
So I want to take a pause because what I really want to talk about there is just shattering one of the myths that time alone fixes everything. And because we have, again, the technology and the tools and the systems, do we have the mindset? Have our mindset shifted? That's a tongue tie. Has it shifted? To where ownership is not a priority for people, because I've been starting to see that, and I've been feeling like that a lot lately. Like the reason why we don't have as many of our people that are owners, especially when it comes to home ownership, which is a clear fact that home ownership is the easiest way for our community to bridge the wealth gap. So that's why we push home ownership so much. Like, we may not have millions of dollars to put in the stock market. We don't have a bunch of things to invest. We don't have, maybe you don't have all the income. But home ownership, I mean, you can get in and purchase homes, especially in the Baltimore area, I have people that are purchasing homes for less than $1,000. Like, and now they have equity. This is the largest purchase they made in their life. They can go several years, 5 years from now, they can have $100,000 in true cash in their home. Like, when will you ever be able to save that? Most people just can't. So that's why home ownership is the easiest and the safest way to bridge the wealth gap. So again, that's why we push that so much. But has time alone fixed that? And it definitely shows that despite decades of progress, then we do have a bunch of systematic barriers, and just the conversation about, why is ownership not a priority for our community? Maybe we'll start there. What's your thoughts on that?
In my opinion, just a quick, simple answer. I feel like instant gratification. When you buy a home, it is something that one of the quickest ways to bridge the wealth gap, but you don't necessarily have anything that you can tangibly touch and say, okay, I got this, I can spend this, I can bargain it with this, or I can, use it to do this. Like, people want that instant gratification. So a lot of the time they're like, okay, I'll get the key sign, and can hold that and post it on Instagram, and that's the biggest thing that they looking forward to once they buy the house, is the post that is key time, rather than actually understanding the value and the asset that they just bought, and now that they are on the way to create generational wealth for their family. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like, especially in this my generation, a lot of younger people, I feel as though want the instant gratification, and I also feel as though it's just about who you listening to, who your mentors are, and like who putting the information into your ear. Like you said, we was talking about the podcast a couple weeks ago, where it was two young Black gentlemen who was talking about maybe buying a home is not the best. They were saying buying a home is dumb. That's what they said. They said buying a home is dumb. And they, at the end of the podcast, they did come back around and basically say, like, buying a home would be more smarter when you're financially ready, I guess. But I mean, to put the word out there to say buying a home is dumb, that's just who you learning from. I feel like if it's 50% of people over here where somebody's telling you, hey, rent, don't buy, lease your cars, do this, lease your cars, and then somebody over here is telling you, okay, own everything, own the homes, own the stores, own the properties, own the parking lots, own everything, then you're going to be thinking with an ownership type of mindset. So I feel like both of those come into play, in my personal opinion, the instant gratification, and also who your mentors and who you learning the information from.
I think that's exactly what it is. Thank you, Just Do It Smooth, who said good financial Friday. I definitely
What's going on, Smooth, my guy?
Okay, hey. Happy Juneteenth. So I definitely agree. So what I'm seeing as a real estate broker, licensed broker owner in 4 states, and I refer in all 50 states, I see exactly that from my personal perspective, is that a lot of times people don't purchase because they do want that instant gratification and they're looking for the shiny things. So like you said, if they can't have that, they might just want to be an owner. However, the second piece of that falls right up under the first piece is if they can't get that home where their homies and their family and friends and their cousins gonna walk in and be like, oh my goodness, this is nice and this and that. And if they not gonna get that reaction when they pull up, and I don't only see that in younger people. I'm having people that are 50, 60 years old that may even have owned a house before and say they want to sell their house to downsize. They will say to me, when I pull up, it still need to feel like something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something about our culture and our community. Like, we're not looking at the core values of ownership. Like, we're not looking at generational wealth. passing it down in a trust. We would rather be 50 years old and never own if we can't get the shiny home, if we can't get the granite countertops, if we can't get this certain neighborhood. Like I have so many clients that have been pre-approved for 2 and 3 years, and they'll just be like, I don't see nothing I like. I don't see nothing I want.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing polls and stuff today. Like, if you were to give people the option and say, okay, would you rather live 20 years in a mansion, but after those 20 years, like 20 years, you're renting the mansion, like you living in the mansion, but you just only paying rent the first of the month. But after those 20 years, you have to get out. Or would you rather live 20 years in a single family, and now after those 20 years, your single family will accumulate that wealth and possibly be a 3.5 or whatever $1 million property, however much it may be. I feel like a lot of people might choose, I'm going to live in a mansion for the next 20 years. Like, let's ball.
They definitely will. They definitely will. And let me tell you, let me add to that, is what will happen is they may be living in a home that's a rental, and say their rental is in Owings Mills, and they may be, you know, paying, for some reason they've been there for 10 years and they're paying $2,200 a month or something. And they might be like, well, I already have a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. Why would I purchase and go down to a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath? And it's like, because that's not your house. That's why. Right. You're in someone else's house, paying someone else's mortgage. You don't know what they've done with it. You know, they may have inherited the house. They may have no mortgage, and that whole $2,200 is cash flow for them. You are struggling day by day, and you're worried about an extra bathroom because you think that you're downsizing, and you think that you're going to be putting yourself in a worse situation by owning and possibly losing a bathroom. Like, that's because it's not your house. Like, how I don't know how to get that over to you. Like, it's not your house. It's someone else's property, is someone else's asset, and you've been here for 10 years. Like, and I feel like also people don't do basic math, and I'm just a very analytical, scientific type of thinker, and I know that everyone is not, and sometimes that could be a good and a bad thing. However, you know, do the math. If you're paying $2,200 a month, even if you started out at $1,700, and we know your rent is constantly increasing, if you multiply that times 12 times the 10 years that you've been here, like, you not only have bought a house, but if you don't plan on moving anytime soon, girl, you're going to buy this, girl or guy, you're going to buy this house maybe twice for them. And they're just sitting back, cash flowing. And on top of it, you're paying their mortgage down. So on top of getting the cash flow every month, you're helping them build equity because the house value has definitely gone up. So that's why you probably even got in so low, because now, you know, you may have gotten in when it was a $300,000 house. Now the house is $600,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's theirs. It's their $300,000 worth of equity, not yours. So it's like, I don't even know how that's compared apple to apples. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I also feel as though, and I have a question for you as well after this, but I was gonna say, I also feel as though, like, when it comes to the instant gratification and stuff like that, a lot of people, actually, I'm gonna do the question first. How do you have any people that come in contact and, like, they just don't have the knowledge, and maybe they want to buy a house and they like, I'm not ready to buy a house yet. My credit score is too low. I don't make enough money. Like, how many times do you hear people that come into your office specifically, and, you know, maybe they may talk about they want to buy a house and stuff like that. They like, oh, I'm not ready. I only, you know, work at this job, or I don't make enough for it. And then once you know, run their credit or find certain programs for them, they actually do qualify to buy a house. Is that a little bit of the problem as well?
So that's always the problem. So actually, when I was on Dr. Boyce's morning show early in the week, well, last week, my response to him asking me about why, you know, I want to educate the Black community was saying that we need so much help. We need so much education. And he actually said to me, because, you know, he could definitely give some pushback. He said, Dr. MacArthur, I'm going to give you some pushback on that. People can find, we live in a world of not only information, but sometimes too much information. We don't even know what's real and what's not. You know, people are putting up all types of stuff where we can't even tell. I saw somebody put up a photo recently of them on a cruise ship, and people were saying, oh, you look good, girl. And it was a whole AI photo, and they were commenting under and saying, thank you. And I don't even know if they were ever on a cruise ship. Like, we don't even know what's real or what's fake right now, because we have so much information. So Dr. Boyce even pushed back and was like, I feel like people can find out anything that they want to find out. If you really want this that bad, Why is it that you can't get on, and we talk about this week after week, you can't get on the simple Googler, you know what I'm saying? Free first time home buy seminars, sitting down, meeting with a lender. You know, we have so many experts that are Black experts in the industry, where why can't you sit down and obtain the information if you're saying you just don't know? Even if you don't have all of it, you know, you didn't start to do a little bit of your research to get increase your knowledge, to get a little more comfortable. And I actually had to agree with Dr. Boyce when he said that. I'm like, you know, I definitely agree that when people want to know something, that's just like I've been saying for years. People spend money on what they want to spend money on. People spend their time on where they want to spend their time. Don't ever let nobody tell you they don't have time. People have time for what they want to have time for. And if they don't have time that day, they will make time for what they want to make time for. And it's the same when it comes to ownership and increasing the financial literacy in our community. We have to want it. We have to say, not being financially literate is not an option for my family. Like, it has to be a line in the sand where we say, no matter this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to move forward. I mean, we don't see this in our community. Like, my dad has, and I've always known him to have this, he has like cousins get-togethers where his cousins and them are going over stocks and stuff. And I mean, they do this once a month. And now I'm not surprised why he was so strong on us growing up about being financially literate, because that is the environment he put himself in, and it wasn't an option, you know. And we have to just draw the line in the sand with our families and say, no matter what somebody else didn't teach us in the past, we talked about that last week, we can no longer blame our family. We can't blame our parents. It's a time where that becomes an excuse also. We have to stop it, and we have to say, no matter what, I want to stop this, and I want to make a change for my family and my children. And we have to sit down and learn. Bring the children. I mean, we had kids at the last seminar. I posted a clip today of a young man at our recent our recent first-time homebuyer seminar. And I mean, not only was he listening, but he was answering questions that some of the adults were either afraid to raise their hand, maybe they knew the answer, but he was definitely raising his hand. And I was like, young man, what is your name? Like, you are on it in here. And it just like, it brings so much joy to me, because that's what we have to start. We got to start like now.
Yeah. And I want to piggyback on what you said after we read Miss Katrina question, but I was just going to say, before I had asked you the question I asked you, I also feel like people need to, like, a lot of people don't see the vision. Like, I always tell people stories about like how being in the mental health field and psychology and stuff, I ask people sometimes, like, especially when I was in college, like, I'll ask them, like, do you see yourself being a millionaire? Or like, where you see yourself, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? And it's very surprising still to this day, the number of people who will blatantly look me in the eyes and say no. Like, I never see myself being rich. Like, that's just not I don't see that for myself.
Yeah, everybody don't want it. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that throughout life too. While I'm pushing everybody, be great, do better, let's do, everybody doesn't want that. And that's why it's a such thing as the top 1%.
I feel like they gotta see, like how people say, like, even with $1 million, like, some people don't even know what that will look like. Like, you can have have a little bag and be like, it's $100,000 in there, and they be like, it's how much? Like, I feel like you have to believe that, yes, that's really in there. I feel like there's so many people out here that don't know the difference between a $1 million house and a $10 million house. Like, you might ride down the street and just look at a house and be like, oh, look at that house over there. How much do you think that costs? Like $100,000 or something? Like, no, that's probably like $1 million home right there. That's not.
Jerome and I was talking about that last night. I'll get even people that reach out to me, and I'm talking about consistently. Yeah. They will say, I want to pay $2,000 a month, and I'll say, okay, and this is for even to rent a property. No judgment. You're not ready to buy yet. Everybody needs a place to live, so we still have to put you into a rental property until you're ready to purchase. That's fine. I want to do $2,000 a month. They'll say they want a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and then I'll say, what's your preferred area? Any of my people that's in the chat from Baltimore, they'll say Owings Mills, Catonsville, Pikesville. Girl, it's not a house over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you do your research? Like, and then they'll say, I've been having a hard time finding a place. That is not it is plenty of houses over there. Your budget does not suffice for where you're trying to go. Like, you got to also be realistic, especially when it's your first step. I don't know. That's another thing. And we're going to get to Katrina's comment. That's another thing. Like, why is it that something about ownership makes people not feel like they can take a baby step? Like, they'll take a baby step in everything else in life, but when it comes to this, they got to jump in and dive with it all.
The big boy house.
To have everything, or if not, they got to have the location. They have to have the bedrooms and bathrooms, it got to be in their budget. It has to be like, it literally has to be everything the first time around. And it's like, I don't understand that. Get in the door with ownership. You can always progress the same way you do in life with your car, your job, your education, everything else. You didn't just start out at the top. You know, I don't understand why we don't view that the same. But let me jump into the chat real quick.
Yes.
Because it's a hot topic. Let's jump into the chat. So Katrina says, I'm probably one of those people who want to purchase a house that I actually like, but I feel like my non-negotiable is not to live in the city. I do prefer a 4 or 5 bedroom because of the amount of kids I have. I'll settle for a 4-bedroom home. So I'm gonna definitely, as a real estate broker, again, let me take this one. I'm gonna give a tiny bit of pushback on that, Katrina, because
read the other 2 comments first.
Oh, let me see. Okay. It says, LOL, long as I'm not in the city, I'm good. And then the other one says, oh, I don't want to be over west.
Okay.
So we're from Baltimore. So I'm going to give a tiny bit of pushback on that. Number one, I would question, do you currently live in a city? Oftentimes, people who currently already live in that environment and have been there their whole lives. So if you're 30 and 40 and you've already been there your entire life, oftentimes they'll say, I don't want to own here, but you already live here. The second thing would be, whether you want to be the city or the county, that's always good. You know, we don't have a problem either way. It's just now affordability. So if you're in your 30s or 40s and your affordability has not gotten you to a point yet where you can get into the county, I would highly advise to seek the outskirts of the city. You know, there's plenty of places that we can get you in that's very close to it, because the second pushback, she said, no, she's in the county now. Yep, that'll be my second pushback. If your affordability hasn't gotten you to a place, because it's not that it's no homes in the county. So if we can't find something that maybe, because the county is going to get expensive, especially right now, you know, in some areas. She said not over west. Okay, the city your entire life. Yeah, so you know the city very well. You know different areas in the city. The county is going to get pricey, especially because, not that people have waited, because that's not what anybody purposely have done, but just like any other asset, it's grown, and that's what you want. So you got to look at it that way. Once you buy, you want your asset to grow. You want your $300,000 home to be $500,000 in 2 years or so forth, or 5 years, you know, whatever that time frame will be, you want it to grow. So I will say that if your personal affordability, and everybody knows what their personal situation is, have not gotten them to be able to find what they're looking for, that 4, 5, 6 bedroom in the county, I would not hold off personally on ownership for that reason. Like, it's a ton. If you're familiar with the city, you've lived in a city, get yourself in the door. You can always live there for a year, 2 years, and then now you have equity in your home. You can even rent that home, put it in the trust for your family. You can cash flow that home, and now that will provide you possibly with the additional income to now get over to the county. You know, we started out, my first home was in the city. After that, we immediately was like, all right, let's jump over to a county address, because we wanted to put our kids in certain schools, and our kids pretty much went to private schools, but we still didn't want to do a lot of traveling. So it wasn't necessarily like a hate for the city, because we technically were also in that prime location in the city. So I always say, just find that, because there's plenty of those areas. And the only other pushback that I talked about recently at one of our events is, most of the time I see people that were born and raised in Baltimore give a lot of pushback on buying in Baltimore. I've had 3 calls today with people that are from other countries that have reached out to me. Like, I have to keep my WhatsApp open at all times. Everybody know how much space WhatsApp on your phone. I cannot delete my WhatsApp, because they will hit me just out of nowhere. Like, hey, Ebony, we trying to get 3 or 4 properties. I had somebody reach out to me today. It's 10 of them that want to get investment properties. And what they're doing is they're coming to Baltimore City, they're purchasing homes, and they don't want to sell them. They're making them rental properties. And then what they're doing on top of that is they're going to hold it forever, and they're going to put it in a trust for their children. So now it's taken away from our sale inventory, because there's so many homes that are for lease, but not as many that people want that are for sale. And then the next thing they're going to do is they're going to make the credit score requirement 650 plus. That means the people that are living there now can't even get the rental property right in the same community where they didn't grew up in.
Yeah. And people might not want to live there, but like you said, I've been seeing a lot of, even people, some of my colleagues that I went to school with, going back to Baltimore and buying those homes as rental properties. Like, it's a smart investment. So you might not want to live there, but I was gonna say the same thing, and not of course, like in a no bad way or nothing, Miss Katrina. You just happen to be the person that was giving us feedback.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We
Yeah,
appreciate it. So no,
definitely. Just giving
this
some
ain't a
feedback.
personal thing.
And
We just did
this,
it.
I was gonna say, this is personally
That.
one of my like favorite topics to kind of talk about because not only am I the first child, but I've been to all of the houses from the first house to the house we in now, and I've also with Juneteenth being in place, I've been to predominantly white high school, predominantly white college. I've been the only black kid on my sports teams, so I kind of like get the best of both worlds for and know how to engage over here, engage over there, and stuff like that. So I think it's real cool. Like I remember we all our family that you guys see on the podcast, my sisters, my brother, my stepdad, everybody, like we all shared a house where I don't even think people know one bathroom. And I told my little brother, like, look, I'm going downstairs. You can have this room,
Yep.
but we wasn't thinking of it like it was a non-negotiable. Like even with me saying like I told my little brother he can just have the room, I just did that because I wanted to. Like it was just more better for me, and I enjoyed it. I'm like I'm in the living room, I got space down here, I can put my blanket down, I can stretch out down here, and I felt like he liked it. Like he got his own room, and that's how we was doing it. We ain't have
And
no.
keep in mind, during that time, we owned a 5-bedroom, 4-bath home right around the corner. But in order for us to transition as investors, we got a second little house, and that second little house was our little temporary cut.
And
So
we
when
was
Mom
living in there with
said,
one
yeah,
bed.
we already we were living there because that was our little temporary cut. So we already had a talk with the kids, like, because it's hard for them to understand also. And I was going to say, shout out to Katrina again for being brave enough to even comment. We definitely appreciate that. We love
Yes,
the engagement. So
Katrina,
yeah,
we
that's so
definitely
brave.
appreciate that.
Yes, for sharing. But I do want to add to that statement, just for full clarity, that we had just built a house from the ground up, and people will tell you I was 24 years old, I think, at that time. $500,000 house built from the ground up in Baltimore County. A lot of my friends at that time will tell you, they'll be like, I didn't even know nobody that had ever built a house until Ebony did it. Like that just wasn't a time where people with 23 was building a $500,000 house. We decided that we wanted to rent that house, and this was our big house. This was like, okay, now we're gonna rent this house, but we were kind of nervous about it. So what we did was, and Monte was still in high school, so we didn't want to pull him out of school. He had a bunch of scholarships coming. Obviously, he's a Penn State graduate. He's a 3-sport athlete his whole entire life, sometimes 4 sports. So we had a bunch of school scouting for him. He graduated from Our Lady of Mount Carmel. He was at Archbishop Curley. If anybody again is in the chat that is from Baltimore, and he's a Our Lady of Mount Carmel graduate. So we wanted to keep him in the area. So what we decided to do was make a sacrifice, and we gave up. I mean, not gave up because we still own the house today, but we rented. We moved our kids out of our 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house that was almost 4,000 square feet. We moved them around the corner, a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, literally just to rent that house so that we can start cash flowing there. Monte had maybe a few more months of school left, maybe 8 months. I think we had a 12-month lease there, but we were gone before the end of the 12-month lease. And just it allowed us to not only get additional income from the other house, it allowed us to become debt free. Jerome and I in our marriage, it's a whole nother episode that we'll go into, but in our marriage, we've been debt free maybe 3 or 4 different times because we'll pay everything down to zero. And then if we have other goals and things that we want to do, then we'll just do something else. And achieving a bunch of things when you're trying to reach a certain height of success, then, starting businesses, then I need a business credit. So we'll get everything. I mean, sometimes we would pay $150,000 in credit cards, student loans, whatever it was. We would get everything down to zero in like 12 months. But we would use our investment properties to help us get those bills paid. But yes, we moved our children into a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. And I will say the most embarrassing thing for me as a mom is Monte had to leave for prom from that house. And
No,
we had our huge house around the corner.
And that's why we have 2 different takes, because the children, of course, we weren't paying the bills and stuff, but how, like you said, that was the most embarrassing stuff. I was literally about to say, and living there, I left there from prom and everything. Like my prom pictures was great. Like even that, like I love this type of stuff. Like our old houses and stuff, I never had, it's no shame, nothing. Like I like that we went through. And I was even going to say, it's crazy that you said we had a house getting built, because one, I forgot we used to always drive around to the house and actually see them putting the wood and stuff up. We forgot that. I forgot we used to do that. And we talking about this house, while we was waiting for the house to get built, we was in a townhouse.
We was in another house.
I forgot about that. We was in that, and
we had just sold another property.
Look, Martise in the comment. Martise said yes, we thugged it out. Like, it was fun for us, even with all of our, like, my siblings and all of our kids and stuff. Other people were still coming over. We outside at 5 a.m. in the morning fishing with Chef Rel. Like, it was still more kids coming over. And
what we tried to do is, when we knew we were moving y'all to this 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom townhome, and we're gonna have to do this on the family show. We're gonna have to talk about this on the family show. We knew we were moving y'all there out of our large home, and it was going to be a small sacrifice while we moved to our 7,000 square foot home. So we were going even bigger, but we just needed for you to graduate high school. So during that time, and our new house that we were moving to was going to be that's an 8-bedroom, 5-bath house. So we knew y'all were going to be happy at the end. However, we had to take a small sacrifice. But during that time, we rented a house that was on the water because we really wanted to make sure, like, we were kind of like thinking as parents, like, we don't want it to be too miserable for them. So then we paid even more to have this townhome that was on the water. So like Monte said, we got everybody a fishing license. We got custom rods for everybody. We were out there. We tried to make it as fun as possible when we were not in the house, because when we got back in there, we were all looking like, I cannot believe we had 4 bathrooms around the corner and now we down to this one bathroom.
Yeah.
But
if we walk in the front door right now with Jules and Jordan, they probably be like, we would what? But like, I don't know, maybe because we the boys, but we never thought nothing of it, honestly. Like, it was fun to me, the whole process.
Katrina has another. Let me check her comment. It says it's nice houses in Northeast Baltimore, but not so much good schools. So that's something to think about too. If you have kids, how are the schools, especially if you can't afford private school? That's very true. Now, that's one thing I always say is that in my story specifically, even the story, we're sharing more than we planned on sharing in this episode. But again, we're going to tell more about our journey, becoming investors and so forth, and what we had to do to sacrifice to get so many houses with children. But I will say a part of my story that I always tell people that I don't take away from other people that may not be able to do it is my kids went to private school. So I was able to move around. So it wasn't like, because people will ask me, were you moving your children from like school district to school district because you're moving from the city to the county to this side of town and that side of town? But the answer is no, because we always, made that extreme sacrifice. And when I say that, Katrina, I definitely understand no matter what status we're in, private school is still a huge sacrifice for us. I can remember when Monte first wanted to go to Archbishop Curley, I was looking at Jerome like, woo wee, if you're from Baltimore, Archbishop Curley is like up there, you know what I'm saying? And I was probably maybe 24, 25, right around that 24, 25 time when we had just got a house built. And Monte just got accepted into Archbishop Curley. And I was just like, oh my goodness, are we doing this or not? And we sent them. It was a huge sacrifice, especially with other children that were in private school at the same time. And we have 4 children. So at sometimes, their ages, they have a small age gap. So not everybody was in private school at the same time, but I've always had some in college, some in private school, and we're covering all of everything. And most of my kids in college even had a single dorm. So it was a lot, and it's a huge sacrifice. So I will definitely agree with you with that. Is that something that's a little different from my story, is that I would not expect other people to just be pulling their kids out of school here and there. So that's something that you would have to even really deep dive and consider, that would change the narrative a little bit from my story.
I just want to just to piggyback off of that.
It did.
Yeah, he just remember fishing. Just to piggyback off of that, like, I mean, like, I was the child, of course, but I would just ask, like, how much are people, as much as my mom just mentioned sacrifice so much, how much are people willing to sacrifice? Because I'm also the child who, we were at one point living over West Baltimore, and I was going to school on Bel Air Road, or we was living in the county, and I was going to Curley on Bel Air Road. Even my sisters and stuff, they go to high school 45 an hour away from the home. So like, I feel like a lot of stuff we did is just sacrifice. It's not ideal, and I feel like you have to do the things that's not ideal to get the places you want to go where everyone is not at. And if you're doing the same as everybody else, so
yeah, and that's why, I'm glad that you said that. And that's why sometimes when I tell my story, I'm never expecting anybody to do what I do or do what we did, because we sacrifice to this day. beyond, and some people will say that like it's going to take that level of sacrifice in order to reach that level of success and end up getting some of those things. And most of the people that probably have that level will have the same story. They'll tell you all the sacrifices they've made. But my kids right now go to school an hour away from our house because that is still another private school. But yes, I pass by a ton of private schools that's near my house, but that school is a school that we wanted them to attend. And to make that sacrifice, I wasn't, we had the house that we want and we had the school that we want. So I didn't need to move again. We just take them up there, and we pick them up, we bring them back. We carpool some years with other families. Like we just do a bunch of different things. But people always say to me, like, I can't believe you drive that far to get the kids to school. But I'm just blessed that, with my job, my career, all those things, that I have the ability to do that. So I understand that everybody is not even going to have that ability as well. Marty said, I only remember fishing. Yes, we And like you said, I love the perspective. That's why we got to get the family show, because I love the perspective of hearing from you guys as the children, because we don't sit around all the time and bring up like everything that we've done to know like what was your thought versus our thoughts as the parents and what we thought we were doing, that we thought was the right thing. So that's why I always say, give your parents some grace, even if you're in, a situation and you blame your parents for a bunch of things, give your parents some grace, because, you guys didn't know any better. But that was literally our plan. Like we were so nervous about taking you guys out of your separate rooms, your bed. Like at that time, I say, hey, a big walk-in closet with a window in there. I remember people was just like, "This your sunroom with the big closet with the windows and stuff in there." I thought that was going to be like our room, and I'm like, no, that's the kids' room. Just because that house was so large, and to move you guys out to that situation, we thought that the safe haven was to move on the water, get y'all the fishing license, teach everybody how to fish. So I'm glad that, you guys don't hate us for doing that, because it did go by.
We talk about it all the time. Well, amongst each other, at least me and Martise. That's why I said it's funny, but between our family dynamic, because we have so much different ages. Like we was talking about, where was Jordan room at on Peterson? Like was she sharing one with Jules, or what's like? We just got so much different dynamics. So we talk about it all the time. We got a favorite house, favorite stuff we used to do. Pizza Fridays or everything. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got
another comment too.
Yes, Lucia, thank you for joining us. She's one of my soon-to-be buyers. So I'm glad that you left a comment. So her comment says, that's my problem. I want to stay in Northeast Baltimore, but it seems so hard for me to find a house not off the corridor of Bel Air Road in my price range. So what should I do next? My answer honestly is going to be pretty much the same. Oh, she said yes. Thank you. My answer is kind of going to be similar to what I said, like with Katrina. The main thing is that you got to get in the door. You probably are not going to find everything that you need that first time around, but with most of the loans, you only have to stay in the house for a year, and in a year's time, the way that the real estate market is moving, and I understand that everybody don't want to keep moving. And I'm not saying that. Maybe it's just 2 moves. Maybe the first time around, you have to get something that's not everything you want. And then even if you stay there for 24 months, then the next time around, you can get everything that you want. Because even if you decide that you don't want to be a landlord or anything, you can sell that house and have $100,000. And now the next thing, you move into the next house and you can have everything that you want. So I would just always advise, like, I can't even imagine if I held out on getting into ownership and getting properties because I couldn't get, all the things technically. Because I probably would still not have as many properties. I would still, like, my life would just be totally different. And I always share my story because real estate truly changed my life. Real estate is all this that we're talking about. It surrounds all of these houses because we were cash flowing from these properties. We wanted to be investors. We were using the equity in these properties. We have tons of properties now that have $300,000 and $400,000 and $500,000 in equity sitting in it. So not sitting in our bank account, in equity in our home. So if we wanted to retire and sell, like, we don't have to worry about our 401ks. We don't have to be stressed about those things because of the benefit of real estate. And when you're just renting a property and you don't make it priority, all you're doing is paying for someone else's lifestyle. And I will be honest, the reason why I was able to send my children to private schools was I was doing it off the rent from my tenants. Like, I'll be completely transparent about it. My tenants were paying for us. I've taken my kids to Disney World a million times. I feel like 2 years ago, they was like, Mom, we don't gotta come back to Disney World because we have done everything. We have got on every ride. They was kind of over for a minute. But I would literally take the cash flow from one of our rental properties, have it there for 6 or 8 months, and make a down payment on our family vacation every year. You know, people will always say, how can you take 6 people, you know, out of the country and here and there? You know, I've taken 8 people on a cruise, you know, 2-week long vacations. A lot of times I'm doing it from the cash flow from my tenants. So if you don't want to be paying somebody else's bills, you got to, you know, change the mindset and shift a little bit. Or if you're okay with it, then you just, you know, hold off, because the thing about it is real estate is not coming down. So I really don't know what the answer would be, other than, you know, at some point it might have to be a small sacrifice. And it's not necessarily location or bedrooms, but maybe the rooms are not as big. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean by, I'm not asking somebody to now shove all of their kids in one room, but oftentimes out here the rooms are small.
Yeah.
It's the problem. It's the location you want. It's the price range you want. You can make it doable. You know, if the room's a little small, then maybe it's a sacrifice for mom to get the kids out the house a little bit, so they're not just always in the room. You know, the room is to sleep in. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a little small, then maybe it's those sacrifices for a small amount of time. But it has to be some kind of give and take. And again, it has to be some kind of priority for ownership in our community. So that's really the topic of the conversation, is just prioritizing it. And we don't see as many people doing that because of those small things.
Yeah, I just want to say first, hi, Miss Lakia. Welcome to MacArthur Realty Group.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Secondly, my mom does have a book called Building Wealth Through Real Estate. You guys can go check that out.
Look at my son plugging me.
And third, I was just going to say, it's basically just like temporary sacrifice for long-term success. Like, that's my younger brother who's in the chat saying it went by quick though. And we was talking about when we had to live in, you know, those smaller houses and stuff. Like you said, I was just thinking about this morning, like it's about to be the 7th month. Like we already halfway through 2026. Time flies. So it's like, I look at it as like tax brackets, like tiers of tax bracket, whatever tax bracket you in. I look at it as like tiers of sacrifice. Like you want to do the $100,000 sacrifice, the 6-figure sacrifice, $1 million sacrifice. And I feel like we just made a lot of $1 million sacrifices. And I feel like it just depends on, you know, your specific situation. Like we're not saying go in a neighborhood where you're going to hear gunshots of course we're not saying anything like that, but I mean we understood the assignment as a family and as a whole. Like I would, if my mom came to me and said, hey, you got to sleep on the floor for 2 years, we about to go get this 2-bedroom house, I'll be fine with that, because I know in 10 years the house we going to get. So I'm not saying I'm okay with just sleeping on the floor forever, but I know in 10 years I'm about to have the California King, so I'll sleep on the floor for 2 years. And that's just, you got to understand the levels of sacrifice.
Oh, somebody said need that book. It's on Amazon, but you can always reach out to me as well if you want a copy of it. I'm a 7-time published author.
What's up, Mel?
So I'm a 7-time published author. So I have a bunch of books.
Make sure you get that book today. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, but we definitely are not saying that. You know, we just always like to share our personal story, because people are interested, you know, in our story a little bit. That's the whole reason why I started the podcast. That's why I said I want to get everybody on, but these are my real children, my husband, everybody in the chat. So you see them commenting, you know, they're somewhere around, somewhere else, you know, just commenting. But this is, you know, pretty much what we did just to try to be successful. And it's going to come with a certain level of sacrifice. And I think you said this last week, Monte, for us personally, we live by like, we're not only are we all in, but it's by any means, you know what I'm saying? Whatever we got to do, whatever we got to do. And my kids never felt like we were like, they never got teased at school because we moved around the corner or nothing crazy. Because we would even come to them and say like, hey guys, you know, this is what we about to do. Like we about to set a plan and we about to pay off all the bills. And keep in mind, if we go in debt free, then it's going to free up so much money. So during that time, we may have done extra trips, you know, maybe we went to Six Flags or Kings Dominion a little more than we normally would do to get them out the house and not make them seem like they were trapped in there, you know, in this one bathroom, waiting for somebody else to come out, buy a lot of Febreze.
I feel like that was a big help too, though. Like that was also a part of the process. Like, as my siblings was getting older and I was getting older, like my mom was more transparent with us. Like she said, she would come to us when we get to middle school and high school, like maybe not at a younger age. So maybe we might be like, what is this? Like we not understanding. But once we got to the age where she like, they know what's going on. She would tell us like, hey, this month we about to pay off this. We not doing too much for this next 2 weeks.
We ain't doing nothing right now. Have
like,
a seat.
We will be okay with that. So
yeah. And I do feel like our community, just going back to, the Black community, because all I know how to be is Black. And what I see in our community a lot of times is people do feel like that they don't want to sacrifice their children's lifestyle. Like they do feel like it may be, letting their children down if they can't do certain things or they can't have certain things. But I feel like the exact opposite a little bit. I give them so much. And I know everybody that's in the chat that's a mom gives their children so much. You probably have given your all. It will be okay for 3-4 months to say, listen, we shutting it down around here. You know what I'm saying? And they can turn around and tell their friends like, nah, man. And my kids would do it with confidence. They would turn around and be like, no, we ain't going this. We about to do something else. They wouldn't even present to their friends as if they felt like, we ain't got it. We can't afford. Like, no, nobody was feeling like poor me. None of those things. Like, it just literally was like, right now we'll catch y'all next time. You know what I'm saying? Or like you said, another thing we used to do is we were big at letting everybody come over. So, we might not have had the large bedrooms, but again, when we had the one bathroom, we lived on the water. Everybody come over, come fishing, everybody come hang. When we had, a smaller townhouse, we had maybe a larger backyard. Everybody out in the driveway, hooping, kids over. Like it turned into an environment where all the kids were there and having a good time. I'm feeding them. We having a good time with them. We're all making them laugh. Like it really became that environment, so you just got to make the best out of, whatever situation you're in. Cause that's all we tried to do.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing as well in this generation with a lot of people too. And I feel like that's something that we was really good at even now. Like sometimes I might even overspeak and just say stuff that like, Monte, you don't got that. But it's like, we really just don't care. Like we not hiding. Like it's been, a lot of people want to show only the glitz and the glams. Like it's been plenty of times where we have disagreements in the home. I've been in school and I might get in trouble for a full school year, but it's like, that's not going to stop us. Like, oh, now where we at now, that don't matter. We can look back at it, have dinner and laugh, but it's like, everything wasn't just rainbows and sunshine. There was times where, we had to buckle down and put work. There was times where all our different personalities and this might butt heads and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we all got the same, we know the end goal. Like we know it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, Lucia said, this has opened my eyes a bit, so I'm going to call you soon so we can touch base. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Again, I'm just telling my personal story, but I love that I'm telling my story with one of my children being here and some of my children being in the chat to really know and kind of experience that, we made some sacrifices. And again, I still have children in college, out of state. All of my kids went to out of state college, private schools. Like it's still a huge sacrifice. Like I want to be on an island right now. So when I see y'all out there vacationing and this and that, everybody just got levels to what their sacrifice and their things are. It's not that I can't afford to be on an island. I can't, it's just that I have chosen to now make this stage of my life to finish up with their education and so forth and make those sacrifices and do whatever I need to do, for them, and tapping into that ownership. Because now look at the years later, we have multiple trusts for our children with properties in there. Like I'm not nervous at 40 something years old about, the future for my children, because all I'm doing is continuously setting things up for, when they say generational wealth, I'm setting things up for for myself. For them, they're living it a little bit. For the next generation, that they will possibly have something when they turn 42, that they'll be like, now my parents left me this, left them individual homes. They can cash flow from them. They can keep them. They can sell them, whatever. So I just want to, continue to get us in that mindset and prioritize ownership. Like that's really the main point of me kind of bringing up this as a topic today, is just prioritizing ownership. And we've been on the first stat, that one just took over, but I had some more stats, but I'm not going to go over them because I do have some polls, and I just wanted to do a quick poll with everyone. Let me find the poll. This is my first time doing a poll, so hopefully everybody can see it. So I have a poll up, and I want everybody that's in the chat to do a quick vote for me. We're going to do this quickly. We're going to run through it, and then we're going to do some maybe a mental health minute or something like that. But so the first poll says you can only choose two. So it's retire now, go back to age 18, and I doubled the numbers, I think, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Go back to age 18. So when you go back to age 18, you're going back with the same knowledge that you have right now. So let's just add to that. Number 3 is get $1 million right now. Or number 4, marry your soulmate. So if you could pick 2 items, what would you choose? Like, I'm just curious.
Read them one more time in order without saying the number. Just read them straight off.
Okay, so you can only choose 2. Retire now. Go back to age 18 with the knowledge that you have now. get $1 million right now today, or marry your soulmate?
You can only choose two. We're gonna give people some time
Only
to put it in the chat over a couple of minutes.
Only choose two.
While we giving people some time to put it in the chat, I just wanted to say, like you said, the prioritize ownership. I would like to say my main point to touch on would just be exactly like you said. I forgot. I don't think you said Dr. Boyd touched on it, or who would you at a seminar with? And they were talking about the information out there. So my message to us people as Black people, I would say, go get the information. We in a time right now where so much is possible. Like even some on my cell phone, if I don't even think Google is an actual engine no more. Like it works, but when I type in Google, it takes me right to ChatGPT. It's like ChatGPT is responding to me when I put in Google or something like that. So definitely prioritize ownership and go get the information. Like you shouldn't be still 25, 35, 45 years old. Yes, ask for help, but make sure that you first went to go look for the answers before you just reached out to go ask for help, because the answers is out there. And even if you just type in the word free in front of it, you probably can find a free class or course or somebody to teach you. So go get the information because it's definitely out there. And I see we got some answers.
Yeah, we got some answers. Or if not, call me. I'm super transparent. Everybody know all you gotta do is call me. Call me and I'll tell you all about what I did, how I did it. I can't tell you how nobody else reached their success, but I can tell you about myself. So yeah, call me and I will definitely tell you.
Rome said age 18 and a millionaire.
Okay, Jordan said, hard choices. Okay, so my husband said he wants to be 18 and a millionaire. Katrina said a millionaire and retire.
That's what I said, Katrina.
Jordan said 3 and 1 or 3 and 4. And Marty said 1 and 3. So let me see. What was 3 and
what was 3? I think 1 was millionaire, right?
Yeah, millionaire. Oh, Jordan said she wants her soulmate.
Jordan keep talking about marrying the person of her dream. Like, Jordan, I'm gonna call you after this. She keep going with that answer.
Jordan says she wants a soul. She wants to live life with her soulmate. She doesn't want to live life alone. All right, we got one more poll. Let's try this one. So similar things, but different options. So you only can pick 2. So a new house, $1 million, a 850 credit score, or $100 per day for life. Put your comment in the chat. All right, I'm gonna read it again. You can only pick 2: a new house, $1 million, 850 credit score, or $100 per day for life. We may have to run this episode back, Monte, because I did have some other real.
I know you had other topics. Definitely, I know that first one.
You have to run it back, yeah. But
I looked up and it was 855.
Exactly. All right, we got some comments in the chat. Let me see what we got here. So, let me see. I did see some new comments.
Rome said $1 million and $100 a day, and Jordan said 2 and 3.
All right, Rome said $1 million and $100 per day. He just want all the money.
I ain't mad at you.
2 and 3. Let me see what 2 and 3 was. 2 is $1 million and 3 is an 850 credit score. So Jordan want to use some credit up also. Okay.
Jordan, who told you about that credit, Jordan? Who told you about that 850 credit score? I see everybody. I think everybody can agree on that million, though. I don't think everybody agreed on the million at least.
Katrina said a new house and $1 billion. Thank you. Now that billion wasn't the answer. Million was the answer, but I would take $1 billion.
I agree again with you, Katrina. I would take as we just talked about prioritizing ownership. I probably would go house, and I probably would go to million as well.
Honestly, we didn't deep dive, but if they were to say like $1 million plus my dream house completely paid off, no taxes I gotta pay. I would probably take my house and $1 million, like put me in my dream house and let me build it everything I ever want, and put me in my ultimate dream house. And I might take that and just give me that with $1 million, and I can retire off the $1 million. So for me personally, I probably wouldn't have took the retirement because I can give me that $1 million at one time, not just accumulate it over, a year or 2, but like a duffel bag right now and somebody just freely hand it to you. Then yeah, I'm taking that easily. Marty said 2 and 3, so, which was $1 million and the 850 credit score.
Okay, they over there about some credit over there.
Yes, yes. Thank you guys for commenting. We definitely appreciate it. We are at 9 o'clock, and I don't want to hold you guys any longer.
Yes, we appreciate it. Thank you guys for tuning in again. Thank you, Miss Katrina. Thank you, Miss Lakia. If you're still on here again, welcome to the family. I hope you enjoyed your first time on the podcast. We got a
Rome
few
said you
more
can get the house
comments.
with the money. You can have $100 a day. It's like 800,000
Tell them
something.
what you would tell everybody on here. What we was talking about before we went live about the $100 a day thing, though, and let's see what they say.
All right, so quickly, truthfully, I started presenting my children with these little scenarios way back when I did my bachelor's in finance, because what I learned is that technically just having fun, there is, everybody can have their own opinion on it. Thank you, Katrina. I definitely appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in again. However, it is a true answer, which is called time value of money. So anybody that's going back and look at the replay, look up time value of money. We might even do an episode on that to talk about it, but time value of money is really simple. It just says that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. So anybody that's doing $100 per day, $1 today, $100 today is not the same worth as $100 8 years ago. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to get the money in the future versus the jumbo lump sums now. It sounds good to get all the future money, but it's not going to equal out the way you think of it. I mean, just think of our grandparents from 1940. If you offered them $100 a day, at that time, they would probably think it was millions of dollars, even by getting, a week's worth of pay. For us, that would be just chump change. We would have to save up so much of it, to even be able to get somewhere. And at the end of that year, even if, like Jerome said, you get to 800,000 at the end of that year, the whole economy been changed politically, everything been changed by the end of that year. And next thing you know, you basically like, this 800,000 ain't no money, especially if we talking about going back to what we were talking about with real estate and all of that. You probably ain't gonna get all that you want. I mean, you can get a halfway decent house in Owens Mills for 800,000. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't gonna get you what you thought you was gonna get when you wait out, and then now you have to wait 5 and 10 years to accumulate what you think you're gonna accumulate. So everybody just look up time value of money. It's very important to know that. It's a finance thing in the finance industry, but it is a true answer to should you take the lump sum or should you take the payments if you understand time value of money. So yeah, that's my key takeaway for today. Google time value of money and learn a little bit about $1 today is more valuable than $1 tomorrow. Just always remember that.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody. Don't forget to check on your strong friends. It's still June. It's still Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Make sure you reach out to a strong man in your life and check on him to see how he's doing. And we appreciate y'all for being here on this federal holiday. Y'all enjoy y'all federal holiday. We love being Black and proud. Happy Juneteenth again, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week. You know what I was going to say? Oh, Katrina just said something real quick. Let's catch this. So it says, so true. I reached a new tax bracket and was like, I'm rich. Nope, everything went up. So I'm back to the same old tax. Exactly. Exactly. So when people answer these questions now, you can trick them up and say it really is a true best answer to these things, where if you know time value of money, then you should answer that question a certain way than with other people who may not be educated on time value of money. So yes, do your research on time value of money. So whenever you are investing and so forth, you'll understand, because if you get that $1 million right now, you can buy 2 Chick-fil-A's, you can do a bunch of things, you know what I'm saying? Where now you're waiting for $100 per day, that's not gonna get you nowhere. So you can already be building and be a millionaire by the time you get 2 years of that. You could be a multi-millionaire by the time you wait for 2 years of that, daily money to come in, and inflation, all that stuff will be crazy. It was one thing that you just said, Monte, that I wanted to add. Oh, you said we love being Black. I was going to add, if you guys follow me on social media, I have a video of myself and my 2 sons in their cap and gown as college graduates and so forth. And I remember when we were doing the video, it was a bunch of people off to the side that were looking at us, and Monte was just kind of like, check out this Black excellence. Look at us. Look at this Black excellence. So we are very, very proud of everything that we've done. We are very proud of, our kids and everything. And I just wanted to add that piece. But thank you so much for being here. Oh yeah, some of Monte's self-published books, we're gonna start putting those in the description. We haven't done those in a long time.
We have so many books you guys can purchase.
Yes, Monte is a 2-time self-published author. So he's published 2 books that are mental health books for children. And we do want to share that as well. It's so much that we do that we don't even get a chance to talk about, y'all. We got to start talking about.
Don't forget to get y'all financial planners as well. We're gonna have a link with all our books.
Yeah, we're gonna put the links.
You guys can check them out as well. Yeah, I just wanted to show that to y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna put the links for everybody's books. But yes, Monte is a 2-time self-published author, a Penn State graduate. So yes, we're very proud of him. But we want to start getting that stuff in the description for anybody that would love to support. But thank you guys again for joining us on another episode of Finance Friday. We definitely appreciate you guys staying past 9 p.m. again. We're trying to talk fast and get through everything. So we're gonna get another episode prepared so we can continue this conversation. But yes, we definitely appreciate it. And make sure today of all days, before you end this week, check on your strong friends. Before you go through the weekend, before you hit Monday, call up somebody and check on them. Again, thank you for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Happy Juneteenth.